Hi, ladies. Welcome to the Dating Advisory Board. I'm very excited today to have two of my really great friends, but also my cohorts in business. I've got Melanie Coburn from Cadre, the CRO, Chief Relationship Officer. I've got Jenny Shtipelman from Vice President of Eagle Bank, here joining us today. So we're going to go over a few things during the podcast. But you know, when you're getting back into the dating world, you know, it can be overwhelming and you just kind of don't really know where to begin. And you both do a ton of networking, I mean, in business. And I wanted to talk about that first because, you know, if you're going to come up with a dating strategy, right, like where do you even begin? So let's just talk about the networking side of it. Right? So where do you meet people and how to use in the business sense? Like how are you building client bases? How are you meeting customers? And then let's try to move it into, you know, how that could apply in the dating world.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So Melanie, you want to start first?
Sure. I mean, I think with any networking and any relationships, really, you're looking to connect with people that are like-minded and that share a lot of your passions, your values, things of that nature. With business networking, you try to find communities or events or associations that are in line with your industry, in line with your, you know, just the types of people that you're looking to meet. And I think with dating, you know, one thing to do to meet people, I mean, I think word of mouth marketing is the most effective way to market and meet new people, and leaning on your network to meet new business contacts and even new potential
suitors.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you lean on your network, you ask your friends, they know you best, and they probably have people in their network that they might want to introduce you to.
Yeah. And let's talk about Cadre. So let's give your background. Tell me how you became Chief Relationship Officer with Cadre and what Cadre is about, because that is a huge networking community.
Yeah, so my husband is, he's a partner at a wealth management firm, and I was a marketing director for the Redskins for 10 years, and we had very diverse networks. And we were not satisfied with some of the networking groups that we were a part of, so we decided to start our own. And we brainstormed a lot, and we figured out that if we started with a foundation of really awesome people, that more awesome people would come. Yeah. And so we built Cadre with the founding members, 14 founding members, and we vetted our community. So we asked for only word of mouth. We had referrals coming in. We didn't market. We didn't advertise. It was all, you know, from the existing founding members, how we built it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you vet for intention and you vet for people that are pay it forward and helping others, I mean, that you're really going to create something special.
Yeah.
So I can't take any of the credit. I think our founding members are awesome, and they brought in some really great people. And it makes my job easy. Yeah.
And so talk about some of the speakers. I mean, I think that is probably one of the coolest things. I mean, I know that I love Cadre. I mean, it's changed me and changed how I view business and personal relationships. Agreed. And, you know, and growth. And some of my best friends, my closest core network, core value group are, you know, friends and business partners. So let's talk about how important it is to have that kind of community. Right. And then, you know, having like your board, your advisory board. Right. And that could be like some of those speakers are kind of like an advisory board, so to speak, because they're talking about how to enhance your business and some of the takeaways. But let's just talk about some of the guests. And then I know you have an event coming up, too.
Yeah. So we started off doing the university events just, you know, by chance. Mm-hmm. Derek knew DeMaurice Smith, the head of the NFLPA, and it was right during the lockout when they were having all the negotiations. Mm-hmm. So we were talking to him, and we thought it would be really interesting for him to come and speak and share his story and how important negotiating is in business and how he handled his situation, which was a really tough one, especially at the time. And so we hosted the event, and it was awesome. And we never got into the networking. I mean, we call it unnetworking for a reason. We didn't want it to be a huge event where you didn't know people. It was awkward. You're throwing business cards, that kind of thing. But the members loved it because it was a learning opportunity. It was a chance for everybody to be in one room together, having fun, having drinks. And, you know, we were at the Riot Act comedy place, and it was a lot of fun.
I was there. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. So we we did what our members asked for, and we tried to bring in more speakers for learning opportunities, and it turned into a regular thing we do 4 to 5 times a year. And the way we meet a lot of these speakers is through networking. So we go to a lot of these huge conferences. Derek's been at Mastermind Talks in Ojai, California this week, mainly to, obviously, we've got 15 cadre members there with him. So they're all out there having a great time learning, but they're also meeting other people that we can potentially bring to cadre to expose to our community.
That's great. Yeah, and you were just at Richards Branson's Island last week, or a couple weeks ago, so that's pretty amazing.
Yes, and that was another group that we're also a part of is Maverick. And that community is awesome as well. We've met a lot of great business brains there. We've, been there's a lot of overlap with cadre and Maverick, so we're all it's from one community to the other, that there's a lot of overlap and a lot of like-minded individuals that are learning from one another.
Well, that's great, because those are sort of retreats, but you also building that community is that was what it was, right? I mean, it was a retreat where you're kind of going and learning from everybody, so I think that's pretty interesting, and that can apply in the dating world as well.
Yes.
Go on those retreats, they always say, don't buy things, buy experiences, right? Like, how can it make you better? Like, you'll always remember it. You never know who you can meet by just putting yourself out there. And I think the hardest thing in business, and I think in networking, just going up to a room full of people that you don't know is completely overwhelming, right? But if you just walk up to that first group, hey, how are you? And slowly, that's how you get to meet more people. And obviously be introduced. But so, Jenny, tell me all about, you are at a networking event every night. This is like networking queen. She's got Run the Runway on speed dial.
Yes, my wallet screams for mercy regularly because of that. So actually, starting out in my career, I did network every night. And I think it's almost a rite of passage. This is how you learn. And I think organizations like Cadre now are offering people an opportunity to learn from other people's experiences as opposed to your own. Because at first, I have to say that some of those first networking things that I attended regularly were not great. But this is, coming up to a group of people, I think it's about mindset. Because at those events, it is a lot of card slinging. And it's all about, what can you do for me right now? As opposed to, let's get to know each other, let's develop a relationship. And once I trust you, because at the end of the day, in these situations, we're asking for referrals. Right. And by giving somebody a referral, you're putting your reputation on the line as well, right? Because these are the people that you potentially know, some of them well, some of them not so well, but they will know that their next experience is associated with you. Right. And so what type of experience do you want that to be? Making a lot of noise here. What I've learned is you weed out those other groups that are not necessarily adding value to your experience as well as your clients' potential experiences. And also it's, you have to keep in mind that professional development for yourself also is very valuable. And so groups that offer that, such as Cadre, are invaluable. Yeah. And it's where you learn how to be a better person, a better business person, a better, friend, parent, sibling, whatever it is, will improve your life and make things easier that sometimes we don't find so easy. Right.
So tell us a little bit about what do you do at Eagle Bank? And how long you've worked there, and because I know you've been there for quite some time.
A little bit.
And
yes.
then we talked a little bit about follow-up, right, and how that applies. So give us a little bit of background on Eagle Bank. I love Eagle Bank. It's my bank.
Thank you.
Cadre's Bank.
Yeah, that's right.
Choice.
Thank you.
Gotta love Eagle Bank. The nicest people ever, I swear. I love them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Potomac Branch. Okay.
So I've been with Eagle Bank, it's going to be 11 years this year. So awesome. I've gone through various roles, various locations there. And at this point, I'm actually developing a new role for the bank where I'm going to be expanding servicing and really making sure that some of our largest clients are being taken care of, and they're already taken care of well, but I'm just another layer of staff, so to speak, that will keep Eagle Bank top of mind for our biggest clients. And so that's it's going to keep me busy, I can tell you that right now.
A lot more networking events.
Not even necessarily networking events, but a lot more events where I'll actually be able to bring value to those clients, additional value to those clients. So that's great. So you'll probably see a lot more of them at Cadre events.
Sweet, that's good.
And so what really, let's see, it's an interesting question. So in those 11 years and my previous experiences at other banks, there's things that you learn, right? And especially when you're dealing with business people and you're dealing with things where one meeting is not enough, right? And so and it translates actually very well to the dating world, because once again, it's relationships that you're developing. And a couple of things that I found that are pretty important, and we can spend hours and days talking about them, but the basic ones that I found are setting expectations and follow through, basically doing what you said you were going to do.
Correct.
Because how often do we find ourselves going into a meeting, but you didn't set the right expectations, so people are thinking you're going to talk about something completely different than what you're actually there to talk about.
Right. It's called an agenda.
Right? And so, and then once you leave, what expectations did you set, and what type of follow-up is there going to be based on those expectations?
Right.
And so is it up to you to then make the next step and reach out to those people and set up potentially either another meeting or a phone call or whatever it is? Were there any issues that needed to be resolved? Is there any homework, so to speak, right, that needs to be handled by either yourself or the other party? So it's a process.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like when you're dating someone, you're like, okay, we were talking about this the other day, with these dating sites, right? It becomes a full-time job, right? I mean, you're having to weed through, prospect. You're trying to figure out and we talked about it, it's tough being in DC. It's hustle and bustle, and I'm sure all over the world too, but especially here, it's just like it seems like on a time rush, oh my gosh, it's 2:15, the Beltway is going to be a madhouse. I cannot make meetings between 11 and 1, so where are you even going to find a date, let alone try to go through these plethora of suitors or suitoresses? I don't even know if that is what it's called. Whatever, I'm going to go with it. So, I mean, even if you have that,
let me write that down, your word.
Yeah, I'm going to Wikipedia, it's mine, don't steal it. So, but having trying to find the time, number one, I mean, it's virtually impossible. It's another job, right? And then if people, you're trying to communicate with them, right? You're starting the expectation of, okay, let's start talking. Do we have the same values, or we can't really tell about that. We always talk about, and I want to have you read something that you sent me because I thought it was good.
Yeah.
And but it's interesting because if you actually can say, okay, well, I wish you could just have a video reel on these dating sites, right? So then you can just be here, just play it. So I don't have to tell it 20 million freaking times.
I think some of them you're actually able to do that, but
really?
Once again, you come up against, and I think this is what Melanie is going to talk about, people will say whatever it takes to get interest.
It's just true.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
forever.
Okay.
The famous words of Chris Rock: relationships, they're easy to get into, hard to maintain. Why are they so hard to maintain? Because it's hard to keep up the lie. Because you can't get nobody being you. When you meet somebody for the first time, you're not meeting them, you're meeting their representative.
Amen.
When do you meet the real them? It's usually 6-month mark, right?
Or maybe never.
Right.
I mean, maybe you just...
Or years.
Never, or maybe years later, and that just comes out at a...
Or after you're married, or
or divorced, or whatever, or still single. Or,
by the way, I didn't do that any justice.
No, you actually did.
No,
you actually did. You were amazing.
I really like the enunciation.
Speaking of, yes, pun intended.
Inside joke earlier. But so anyway, but I think follow up is it's tough. So when you actually have these people are okay, I want to have a 20 times back and forth conversation. Why can't we just meet for coffee? It just seems to be kind of
redundant.
Okay, you read my profile, I read your profile. Let's talk a few times, to see, just meet for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be
to set up a time and a place if we're actually interested in seeing each other.
It could be a 5-minute conversation. Because
Exactly.
if you can tell 2 seconds whether you're going to have chemistry or not, and if you're going to think, well, I like this person because they're this, and this, and but deep down,
Mm-hmm.
in your gut, you're you can't push yourself to like somebody, because let me tell you, it ain't gonna work. Because at the end, it gonna come out.
This is a major takeaway, because this is something that I think the three of us discussed the other day.
Yeah.
I think because, and especially as women, we want to make the best of every situation, and most of us, and I think it comes with time and experience, is we're very sensitive about hurting people's feelings. Mm-hmm. And there's countless friends that I've had that, and I think actually some family, where I'm like, all right, well, in this particular situation, you can do X or Y. X takes care of yourself, and Y takes care of the other person. Why do we always go with Y? And I actually, in my family now, I sort of laugh and I say, you're so nice, is when something is being done with the other person in mind, when you're completely negating your own feelings. And so you have to follow that instinct. Is basically, if there's no chemistry, if it's not going to go anywhere, just tell that person. Don't be nice. And say, look, it's been great to meet you, but I don't feel it. I'm sure that there's a nicer way to put it, and I'm just really blunt.
Yeah, I know.
But you can dress those things up in a way where they're not expecting something else from you. But there's so many times, and granted, I've been guilty of that as well, is where people are like, but I don't understand why you won't talk to me anymore. I'm like, because there's really nothing to talk about.
Right. There's nothing. I love you, Jenny.
Drop the hammer.
Just I mean, I don't understand. I mean, like, what's not there to understand here?
Right.
It's pretty funny.
Right.
No. Yeah. It's just interesting.
I think, a lot of what Chris Walk's saying too, it's
Yeah.
about authenticity.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're meeting somebody for the first time or over the first few dates, you really have to be yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be honest with them.
Yeah.
In order, and hopefully get the same thing back from them. But I mean, that's the only way you're really going to determine initially if you have something in common or if you
Right.
have any attraction to that person.
Yeah.
And I think the same holds true for business, right? You meet somebody, you can tell when somebody's being inauthentic.
Right.
Or if they have, other expectations or other motives.
Right.
So, I think authenticity, you're going to see that buzzword in the coming years.
Oh, yeah.
Within the business world, there's a lot
Huge.
of speakers
Yeah.
that are emerging on that topic, books coming out. And especially with all of the social media buzz and all the different
Yeah.
channels and things that are happening and growing, it's going to be...
Yeah, I mean, your business is going to be, authentic, and I mean, it has to be. I mean, because it starts with you, right? I mean, regardless if it's the CEO or you. I mean, if they're not being authentic with who they are, I mean, the company, it's going to be the overall culture. But anyway.
Oh, and this is going back to if you're not being authentic, it's easy enough in today's world to find out, because there is enough on the internet, on the social media, and there's just
Yelp,
too many
reviews,
Yeah.
There are
Google.
too many
Google.
places where you
And
can just
parentheses
put
in the
in
search category can pull out a lot of information. Just saying.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you can go and search for somebody's name, somebody's business
Right.
name, whatever it is, and if it's the absolute opposite behaviors, language, whatever it is, than
Yeah.
what they've presented to you, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like just like how you vet clients to get information, people are, Google stalking the other people, trying to find out.
Research, girl.
Research.
Yeah,
Research.
and that I've talked to you about that before. I mean,
Right.
in cadre,
Right.
we are 100% looking for social proof. We lean on our members. If we are introduced to a new potential member, we
Right.
go to LinkedIn and we see who they're connected to, and we reach out to the members that are connected to that person to get feedback.
Yeah,
and
so
I think
are they a good fit?
you should do that in the dating world.
Yes,
Why not?
absolutely.
Why not?
If
And this
somebody
has come
knows
to the
somebody,
advisory board.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is why you have your circle.
Yeah, that's right. It's just, just a little Facebook click away to see, how you are connected. I actually had that happen. A girlfriend called me and said, hey, she's like, you're friends with so-and-so, this guy. And she's like, tell me all about him. Tell me all about him. And I was like, well, I don't know that much. I mean, it was just, it wasn't a close friend, but a friend. And I said, but I can do some, research, if you will, if you want. And she's like, yes.
Social proof.
Yeah, social proof. So, I mean, it does happen in the dating world and in the business world. So it's just interesting.
Well, there's huge value in those relationships, because if you think about it, DC, while it's a major metropolitan city, it's a capital, it's a small town at the end of the day, especially when you're starting to think about like-minded people and communities.
Right.
And so whether it's the business world or personally, someone is going to know somebody.
Oh, yeah. It's a
And
small world.
A small
it's so
world.
transient. So the folks that are really here long term,
Know each other.
yeah.
Yeah, they do.
And sometimes you find out the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on a funny conversation we were talking about yesterday. To some of our dating stories in the past, the funnier ones that stick out to you. So, and I will share one of mine too. So, Jenny, you wanna start first?
I actually, if I can pass and come back, because I'm still thinking of one. The one I'm thinking about is probably inappropriate, but I'll come up with something.
Okay.
I'm so far out of the dating game that I think there might be some holes in my
Yeah.
story, but I vividly remember one of my just weirdest sort of awkward dates. It was a first date. It happened to be 2 days after New Year's Eve, and I went to a party. This is in college. Went to a house party, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a bunch of friends I knew. No real romantic prospects at this party, but there was this guy in my dorm. It was midnight, and we kissed. Right? Yeah. That's what you do at midnight.
Yeah. Under the mistletoe.
So randomly the next day, I get a call, and he asks me on a date, and he was super sweet, and I'm like, okay, sure. Little did I know that our first date would be the Titanic.
Oh, that's not a metaphor. I've ever heard of.
No, literally you went to see the movie?
Mm-hmm. We went to see the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a long movie to sit through on a first
long
date.
Movie, and it's a very romantic.
It is a very romantic movie.
There was a grazing of the hand on the knee. I mean, was there?
Oh, no, but there was an L-bomb.
Oh,
the first
date?
Yes.
Yeah, so you may not want to lead with that. Just saying, it's probably not a good idea.
And at the end of the first date, it's still leading.
Yeah,
it's still not. There's not enough time.
No, so
it's just like
I think very awkward. He was very sweet, and I was just taken aback.
But
and
he was on top of the world that day.
Yeah.
I mean, he was feeling Jack. You know,
so
he just really was.
Yeah,
he was a Leonardo DiCaprio move right there.
Oh yeah. Well, we were on the front of the boat doing the famous.
Right.
And then we sunk, but it was all good. But yeah, that was awkward.
So you felt cold. No. Okay, so I've seen it a couple times. Clearly. So that's
not on first dates, though. Right?
No. I was like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, he died. My dad's like, get a hold of yourself. I'm like, it's just not okay, Dad. I mean, you should have seen I have a funny story sidebar because this is really funny. So I saw Braveheart, years and years ago, and I don't know what happened, but I was so mad that they killed the woman.
Yes.
That I was just thrashing. My dad's like, what is wrong with you? Why are you let these movies affect you so much? And I was like, I just feel for these characters.
Exactly. I'm the same way. That's why I can't watch.
I can't watch horror movies. I mean, no. I'm just like, I will have the worst. I had the most vivid dreams anyway.
Exactly.
I'm like, I can't even imagine having listening to that. And my family laughs at me. But
that's why you're a comedian.
That's right. But no, I'm like, oh my god. So all right, funny date story. This was years ago, but it will forever stick out in my mind. So I went on this date with this young gentleman. And, it was the end of the night. It's always kind of like that awkward moment where the awkward hug, ass out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I was going to say
because you just don't really know, what's going on. And so, he was, leaning in for a kiss. And I was like, what is that on his mouth? And I'm like, is he drooling?
He was very excited.
I mean, I don't know. And then I'm like, did you get Novocaine today? And just not tell me? Because I was like,
that's what you should ask in that situation.
I mean, it was just and I was like, yeah, okay, thanks.
You did the head turn.
I did.
Right.
I was
you did the head turn.
I'm not having someone. It was just
drooling.
That's a lot.
It was a little aggressive.
Yeah. A lot.
Or maybe a little aggressive.
Well, speaking of aggressive, actually, my funny story is a few years ago, I was scheduling a coffee date with somebody.
Okay.
And normally I try to figure out approximately where they are so that we're meeting halfway, because especially if it's a first date, I'm not going to have you come all the way out to me, especially if I think it's a little bit far. And so we figured out a place.
You're so
nice. Well, I try to be considerate in the beginning, and then at the first date, when they meet me, I'm like, look, this is how this is, because I am pretty authentic and blunt.
That's why I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody does.
I do too.
Thank you. And so I'm talking to him on the phone, and he says, oh, I don't mind coming out closer to you because we're going to end up there anyway. And I said, what makes you think that?
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Right? That's aggressive.
Oh, right.
I said, that's pretty aggressive. What makes you think that? He's like, because that's how it goes. I said, not here. So enjoy your evening. And I suggest you get coffee somewhere else with somebody else. Not even coming out. Just thanks for the conversation.
Yeah, we don't do it. Hashtag.
No.
Random. That is random.
Hashtag hammer.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
He was trying to get some
complete.
Hammer time.
Oh, no, but I would imagine it would probably have been funnier had we met, and then he's like, oh, we're going to go back to your place. Mm-hmm. And it would still have been a no, but to just assume even on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Let's translate that into business. Like,
Yeah, let's
bring
tr-
your pen because I know you're signing my contract. When
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine walking into a, like, when you're, you have someone saying, like, oh, you're in bank, I need a loan, right? Like, so here's where you're just going to give me money. I mean, that's what? Like, we haven't even run your credit.
No, I usually say, I'm sorry, it's in my other purse.
Yeah.
So it's not your day.
It's not your day. I mean, it is
interesting.
No, but I mean, think about it. You're right. Because could you imagine someone saying, "Yeah, I'm coming to an event," but you don't get it. You don't get to tell me that I can or cannot.
Right.
You know,
Do anything.
do anything.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
And Derek Homey, don't play that. So
Oh yeah,
you're not
okay.
coming.
This is a good story. This is a good segue because we have a few more minutes. But so talk about this. Was one of my. That was probably pretty early on when I joined Cadre, a few years ago, and I saw this email came out. I'm like, oh my god, I love it. So talk about like when some of these emails that go out and talk about that guy that.
Right. Well, our events used to be open to the public. Technically, we would, have you all or have, we would promote them on social channels, on the Business Journal, things like that. And, it ended up backfiring. We had this random person show up at our event. And what he did was he went around the event and talked to a few people and then decided to look at the guest list the next day and somehow Googled or LinkedIn or found people's emails. It wasn't everybody, but it was whoever's emails he could find and spammed them with an email saying, "It was so nice to meet you at the Cadre event. I really enjoyed our conversation. Let's get that meeting on the calendar."
Wow.
And at least 4 or 5 people took him up on it because of that social proof. They're thinking, oh, he's at the Cadre event. He
Right.
probably knows somebody. I feel bad that I forgot
Right.
our
It's such a
conversation.
close-knit group, right?
And a couple people emailed Derek, like, do you know this guy? I feel like I didn't talk to him, but I feel bad. I don't want to ignore him. And
Right.
Derek went,
Ballistic.
he went homey.
Homie, don't play that. Yeah.
He went homey, and we researched it a little bit and found out that he had spammed over 30 people.
Wow.
And Derek wrote a blog about it that got posted on the Business Journal
Yeah. Oh, that's
with a
awesome.
It was
picture
good.
of, yeah,
Yeah.
and basically called him out. And now in every game book that we send out the day before an event, it references that because we want people to know that that's not acceptable. Our members are important to us. Our community is important to us. There's no pitching, no selling. We want it to be a safe environment where people feel okay to be authentic and to open up and to help others.
Right.
So he's banned from Cadre for life.
Yes, you're not allowed. Well, yeah, that's pretty bad.
That is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, I had someone say, "Oh, well, we went to this networking group. How many cards did you get that
That
night?"
was one of the, when I was first networking, it was one of
And
those
I
things.
said, "Sit down. You don't even know what you're talking about." So like you know me, I'm like shocker.
Yeah, it's like how many
Care
digits
negative.
do you get last
Yeah,
night?
how many digits? How many cards did you get when you were salsa dancing? I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, that's not quality. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
they
not,
forgot that
No.
the old adage, quality before quantity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hi.
I
That's,
actually,
yeah.
bringing it back to business, I remember sort of early in my career, I tried all these different networking situations, and there was a group that met where they passed referrals to each other. It was not BNI, it was something else. I don't remember the names now. And I remember this guy wanted to meet with me, one of my business. He's like, "Okay, I'll give you referrals, and you can call all these people, but you cannot use my name."
That's a warm,
And I was like,
warm
"Wait."
intro.
I was like, wait a second. So,
So you're just-
basically,
here's
I'm
the
cold
list.
calling.
Thanks for the list.
You probably Googled the list somewhere.
Yeah.
Thanks, but this is not how this works.
Oh my gosh.
So vetting
Betting.
is important.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so as we're wrapping up here, how do people get in touch with you? Jenny?
So the easiest way is my email, and it's my name is a little bit of a mouthful, so
Like Twitter?
we'll post it. So Twitter is @BetterBankCoach. My email is Shtipelman. When Jen posts this, there
Yeah.
will probably be that link in there at eaglebankcorp.com.
And she's the best business banker in DC.
Thank
so
you.
make sure you go check her out and get in touch with her to get awesome customer service.
I second that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, it's-
Eagle Bank's been great.
yeah.
Thank you.
they
And
really-
you've taken great care of the Cadre members. We have
Thank
a lot
you.
of testimonials for
Yeah.
her.
Oh, yeah.
so
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yes. All right, Melanie.
Awesome. I'm on Twitter at MelanieTC. That's also Instagram. Derek is the Cadre DC on
Yeah.
Twitter, but I also help share and curate articles and information from there. And we have an event coming up June 1st with Tucker Max and Jay Bear. And
gonna be
while
awesome.
I mentioned it's
That's
not
gonna be
open to the
amazing.
public, if you happen to know a cadre member
That's right.
or Jen Hecht, she might be able to bring you.
That's right. All right, great. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching and listening to the Dating Advisory Board. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.